Hi everybody, this is Kelly with Kelly Richmond Scrapbooking, and I am going to show you how I'm going to do sketch number 3 for the January 2023 virtual crop. And as you can see, the design or the design for this, or the sketch for this, is really fun with this great big circle here in the center, and then we've got 6 different photos. And I don't have exactly this, but we're going to do something similar. It will be pretty close to the sketch. I really like this basic design using your full 4x6 photos, so there's not a whole lot of trimming on your photos, but we're going to get to work and start playing. The paper that I chose is from the new paper pack that just came out, and it's all of these beautiful teal colored designs. And so we're going to do that. It goes along with this new cardstock that just came out. It's like Ocean something. I probably should have figured out those names before I went on here, but that's okay. So it's a beautiful pack, and we're going to go ahead and play around with it and see how it goes. It's Island Waters. So this is the Island Waters totally tonal paper pack that I'm using. And then this is the Island Waters cardstock. So I think what I'm going to do is I've chosen these two same pieces of designer paper as my base. But before I put down my base, I'm going to cut this circle right here. Now, normally this would be the perfect circle to cut. The problem is it says it's 11-inch circle, and I am afraid that if I was to use the large circle, that it's going to be way more than 11 inches. And I think it's going to take up way more of the page than what I really want. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our circle cutter, and I haven't used it a whole lot, so we're going to play with it. Okay, so what you're going to do, this is a really fun tool because you're able to pretty much make any size circle in here. So you're going to adjust it right here by twisting this, and you can slide it up and down to where you need it. So, and then there's measurements right here, so you can put exactly how big of a circle that you want. And I'm going to put it right here on the 11 because we need an 11-inch circle. And then once it's in place, you're going to just twist it and it tightens it down, okay? Now this is a little point here, and this is your center point. You're going to pivot around it. And then your blade is over here, and there's this little button you have to press down to activate or to open up that blade. And then when you press down, see, your blade barely shows, okay? So I want to make sure that this is in the center. So I'm going to actually take my ruler out and a little pencil. And I've got my paper on my 13 by 13 mat. And I'm just going to line it right up here on the 6-inch. And I'm going to put a little X here. And I'm going to turn it this way and line it up on the center mark. It's 6 inches. So now I know that that's the center of my paper, of my cardstock. So I'm going to try my very best to put this point right here on my paper. Now it doesn't have to be exact because I know it's not going to go over the edge right here. You can see, you can also line up this point right here kind of with your 6-inch mark this way and this way. You've got your line right here to help you center on your 6-inch mark here and here. So it's going to be close, okay? Then we're going to hold right here in the center. We're going to press on this button right here, press down, and circle around. I'm going to move my hand out of the way, press down again, and I'm going to go around just to make sure that I got this edge over here, which I did, okay? And then we lift, and we have this perfect circle. Now don't throw this away because I'm sure there's something we can do with that cardstock. So we've got our circle. I can either erase this. I'm just going to flip it over because it doesn't really matter. It's cardstock and you've got the same color on both sides. Now, as you can see from this layout, we're going to cut it kind of right here so that it goes kind of spread over your two pieces of, or your two pages. Okay, so I'm going to pull out my trimmer and I'm going to trim this. And I don't want too big of a chunk. About like that looks good. And then I'm just gonna trim it. And this is our trimmer, and it is fantastic trimmer. I love this trimmer. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside. So here's my two pieces of designer paper that I'm gonna use as my bases. I'm going to kind of line it up on my mat to make sure things are mostly straight. And then those pieces are going to go, of the circle, are going to go right here. Kind of lined up. And of course, if my two pieces of paper were exactly together, that will also help me line this up in the right spot. Okay? I'm going to move that back. All right, so now I need these two strips that go along the bottom before I start putting my photos on. And I've got these two papers that from the same pack. I've got a little bit of scraps left over of this kind of variegated paper that's beautiful. And then I don't really like that, so I think I'm going to use this side kind of as the top layer. Excuse me, I'm not sure which I'm gonna do top, which one I'll do bottom. Probably this one as a bottom, just so it's a darker color on the bottom. But I need a 12 by 2 inch strip here and a 10 by 2 inch over there. So I'm gonna cut this paper first, and I'm just gonna cut it into 2 inch strips. So I'm gonna line my paper up here on the 2. Press down and cut. I'm going to do a second one for the other page. Excuse me. And I'm going to do the same with this paper for my second. Line it up on the 2 inch. Press down and cut. Okay, now I can kind of dry fit it to see exactly how I want it. So this just goes across the whole page. And I kind of like the idea of this going from light to dark. And I'll trim these in a minute once I kind of know this is what I want. Yeah. I like that. Okay. All right, and then let's talk photos. I'm not going to trim these quite yet, just until we get my photos on here and kind of decide what we're going to do for photos. So we've got a couple photos here. This kind of shows the different funny faces that we were doing. This one's going to go right there. I think I'll crop that one. This one kind of overlaps like that, and then that one I'm going to cut. So that's going to be kind of my layout. I'm going to trim my photos now. Now, before I trim my photos, I want to tell you something that I really like to mat my photos, and because I feel like they really stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to mat my photos in white. just because I really like the kind of the same tones that we're doing here, but I want my photos to pop out a little bit. So I'm going to mat them in white. Now, something that I've learned is if I was to just simply mat these 4x6 photos, then I'm going to I'll only be able to get 4 mats out of this 12x12 piece of paper, because I'm going to need to do either a 4¼ inch or a 4½ by 6¼ or 6½ inch. And I can only get 4 mats if I do it that way. But if I was to do 4x6 mats, I can get 6 mats and no wasted paper. So that's what I like to do, because I don't like to waste my paper. So I need 4 4x6 mats. So I'm just going to cut a strip here, 4 inches wide. Do another 4 inch. And then I'm going to do a 6 inch right here. So I've got 2 4x6 and 4 4x6. Okay. Now these 2 photos I've decided to cut 4x4, or actually 3 3/4 by, so I need 4x4 inch mats for those 2 photos. So that's what I'm going to cut. Okay, so there's all my mats. Now let's trim our photos. So I'm just going to trim these photos down really quick. Just take a 1/4 inch off. Double check it, need a little tiny bit more. Okay. And I don't want to cut his head off, so so I'm doing 3 3/4 inch by 5 3/4 inch. So then they fit perfectly on my 4x6 mats like that. Okay, so I'm going to trim up all of my photos here. And I know these 2 pictures are pretty similar. I wanted both of them on there just because of our facial expressions. This one is going to be a 3 3/4. Now this, what I'm scrapbooking is, I used to be an origami owl designer, and this was our leadership conference. And these colors right here fit perfectly with Origami Owl's brand. So when this paper pack came out, I was like, that is the perfect color for what I need. Just trimming this so it's a little bit more centered. And this one I'm doing 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Let's trim a little bit off of this. And let's do a little bit off here. And a little bit off here. I don't want to completely trim away that 2016. And I'm just double checking. Oh, I did that a little shorter, but that's okay. All right. Now, let's start putting it together. So this is just a regular adhesive tape runner that I'm using. And it's the one I use probably the very most. You just need a little bit of adhesive in the 4 corners. And we're going to just try and center it up the best we can. Assembly is kind of the boring part sometimes, huh? All right, so now we've got our photos. I'm gonna go ahead and start adhering also this big one. This is gonna need a little bit more adhesive because it's a bigger piece. I'm gonna put it right there on the edge. I'm using my 13 by 13 mat to make sure that I get it kind of even. And then I'm going to put my strips on. Okay, let's go ahead and put, let's do this one first. I'm looking at this layout. See, this comes down. Kind of overlapping here. Like that. It's kind of my title right there. I'll have to figure out what to put in this spot. All right, we're gonna switch this over. Now, I've got to decide before I put all this down, where exactly do I want to do just a straight here, like the design, or do I want to do the little flag piece like the picture example right here? And I kind of like this, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to use this punch here. This was a promotional punch that came with a secret box. And you know what? Before I do that, I need to trim a little bit off of here. We're just going to trim 3/4 of an inch because when I punch it, it's going to take some of it off already. And this one I'm only going to do 1/2 of an inch because that one I want a little bit longer. So I'm just going to slide that in all the way till it stops and then punch, and it does that perfectly. Now, speaking of the secret box, we have a new secret box coming out on Monday, and we'll open it and reveal it next month at the February virtual crop. So if you want to get on some fun things, try the secret box. Okay, so this one kind of overlaps a little bit more. I need it to come back a little bit more. So I'm going to just trim a little bit off this edge. We're just going to do another 1/2 inch. See how that goes. Yes, that's better. Okay. I'm going to put that away. Move my scraps. All right. I'm going to move this back over again, like I did earlier. If I can pick up my paper here to help me line this up. And then I'm going to move it back. I love having 2 of the 13 by 13 mats. because I usually work with 2-page spreads. I usually don't do just 1 page at a time. I usually try and do 2-page spreads. So I like having 2 so that I can do 2 pages at once. Put that down a little bit. Okay. All right. Now this one goes low, but I think I'm actually going to put it up higher because I don't have this vertical picture right here. I have another horizontal, so I'm going to put it up a little bit higher. And then my second one right here. And this right here. All right, now all I need is my embellishments. I'm going to set that aside. Now I've got, this is the sticker pack that goes along with it. And once again, it's just perfect. It works perfectly with it. And so I think I'm going to do, I'm not really sure. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a little time and try and figure out what embellishments I want on here. I could easily do maybe some journaling right here, or do like a journaling box right up here, which is probably what I'll do just to get some journaling in. And then when I'm done with the page, then I will do the magic of adding the photo to the end if I can. Okay, so that's all for today. Hope you enjoy this. This is once again sketch number 3 from the January 2023 virtual crop. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you later. Bye.